It's been a pretty interesting couple weeks for recalls. I just talked about the Costco butter stuff, and now Mattel has had to pull thousands of its Wicked dolls from the shelves because they sent them out with the wrong URL on the box. The URL that got shipped on the box goes to an adult website, which apparently had this site going plus ultra as they experienced a huge surge in traffic that they hadn't seen in 12 years at least. The porn site it links to is called wicked.com, and I talked about it on stream. I'll show some clips from that where I dive in a bit deeper, but initially when I was reading the story, I didn't recognize the site. I thought it was just one of those millions of nonsense, completely barren wasteland porn sites that spring up, you know, fucking quirkyperky.com. But when I actually visited it, I had a Jimmy Neutron brain blast. Like, synapses were firing. I got transported back in time because I remember it from the early 2000s. Wicked porn has been around since before the Big Bang. It's older than dirt. It's the porn equivalent of Galactus, just this primordial being that always has been. It was established in 1993, which means the porn is older than the book that the musical is based on. The book came out in 1995 and the play was in the 2003 era. So the actual porn site that it links to is like the OG genesis of Wicked. Of course, it has nothing to do with the play or anything, but I just found that to be so interesting. I didn't realize how old it was. I knew it was old as shit, but this blew my mind. Anyway, though, let me dive in a little deeper on exactly what happened with this mishap. Did you see how Mattel put the URL to a porn site on all of their Wicked movie dolls? Mattel is pulling all the dolls from the shelves. Is that real? Or is that like a conspiracy? Are you serious? No way. What? Mattel apologizes for link to porn site on Wicked movie dolls. Come on, is nothing sacred anymore? I can't even buy a doll without having melons in my face anymore. Give me a break. Jeez Louise. As soon as I'm done with this ad, I'm sure I'll get to see a great news segment covering this. Here we go.
For a Wicked mistake, a web link on the packaging for 2 dolls promoting the new movie Wicked was actually a link to a porn site. It was apparently a typo that left out some letters from the movie's website. Mattel said, "We deeply regret this unfortunate error. Parents are advised that this misprinted, incorrect website is not appropriate for children."
What was the website?
Discard the product's packaging or obscure the link.
Wait, so it just left out a couple of letters and it linked to porn somehow? What was the site? The package for the dolls were printed with a web address to an adult film site with the same name as the upcoming movie musical starring Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. So the site's just... Oh, it's just wicked.com. Sarah Ganau, popular YouTube creator who makes videos about Legos, told ABC News she first heard about the printing mishap on Reddit and went to Target to see it for herself. Thought it was really funny initially, but I was also concerned because this went under the radar. Dolls have been on the shelves for weeks. Oh, these are now officially labeled as misprints. Huge collector's item now. The Mattel Wicked doll porn packaging. It was supposed to be wickedmovie.com. I doubt anyone actually gonna punch in that exact URL. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I feel like most people don't. Since this misprint oopsie was made public, Mattel has taken all of the dolls off the shelves and all the major retailers no longer list them. There was a statement from Mattel saying, Mattel was made aware of a misprint on the packaging of the Mattel Wicked Collection dolls. Man, I've said the word Mattel so many times it's completely lost meaning already. Wow, fucking speed ran that one. Primarily sold in the US, which intended to direct consumers to the official wickedmovie.com landing page. We deeply regret this unfortunate error and are taking immediate action to remedy this. Parents are advised that the misprinted incorrect website is not appropriate for children. Consumers who already have the product are advised to discard the product packaging or obscure the link and may contact Mattel customer service for further information. I do wonder how many people would actually call that Mattel emergency hotline in this case, like freaking out, having a panic, just having a conniption. Oh my god, so it turns out I have one of the Mattel doll porn packages, and I don't know what to do. What do I do? What's protocol here? Like, the solutions would be super simple. Like, the only further information you should need from Mattel is if you can get a refund, because, I mean, why not try, I guess? But otherwise, just fucking throw away the packaging. Or if you're a collector, just put it on the shelf with the back of the box facing the wall, so that way your kids can't look at the URL. Or, like the article says, you can obscure it, you can put like a piece of duct tape on it, I guess. Or, and this is a crazy one, forgive me for my huge, brave, bold hot take here, you could just be a good parent. If your goose is already cooked, the ship has sailed, your kid already saw the wicked.com on the box, you can just tell them, don't go there, and you can make sure that they don't. You can even make up like a really cool story, like if you go to wicked.com, that's where the boogeyman lives, and he's taking all your allowance, and he's gonna give you bad dreams and drain your Roblox account of all of its Robux. There's a million ways where you can ensure that your kid doesn't go to that website if they happen to have seen it on the box. But calling Mattel for further information to see if you can get a refund, I do think a lot of people will probably do that. Like, hey, my kid saw this, I'm pretty mad about it, I want my money back. That's probably going to be the main people that call there would be my guess, but who really knows? All I know is this is an interesting misprint. I don't think I've ever heard of a toy company accidentally linking its consumers, kids, to porn. Now, as mentioned on stream, I also don't know how many kids or just human beings in general see a URL on something and then manually go home and type it in. Like that's probably not super common, and in this case it definitely doesn't seem all that common because these toys were on the shelves for weeks before anybody even noticed it. So probably not a ton of people that got bamboozled and schmeckeldorfed by the wrong URL here, but even still, it is a problem that needed fixing. That's all I really have to say about the whole Mattel fiasco here, but I do want to give you a little bonus because this blew my mind that anyone believed it. Someone sent me an email this morning saying that they had irrefutable proof of the paranormal that they saw on Twitter. Of course, that immediately raises some alarms there. That's definitely a bit of a red flag if you're getting your evidence from some random shitpost on Twitter, but I was curious. My curiosity was piqued, so I took a look at it, and it's this video right here, where it says, some people believe that rich politicians keep such creatures in their houses' secret rooms so as to get power and money. Your thoughts on this? And this is the video. It was immediately clear to me that this is an AI-generated video. But even if it wasn't, why would you instantly believe this? It comes from an anonymous source, and there is no real substance here to any of it. If it's not AI-generated, then the next logical conclusion you should draw is that it's a staged little horror short. But for some reason, the person who emailed me seemed to really believe this, and I looked at some of the comments. A lot of people seem to really believe this. It's crazy how desperate people are to believe in anything at all. Let's just read that back real quick. Some people believe that rich politicians keep such creatures in their houses' secret rooms so as to get power and money. So you're telling me some rich politicians are keeping a, I don't even know what that is, a goblin sea otter? Some kind of weird fucking Magic the Gathering card looking creature in their secret rooms for power and money. How is that little mythical fucking Bimgus going to be giving the politician power and money? How is it accomplishing that goal at all? It seems to just crawl around on a bed. If this was even real, which it's not, it's an AI-generated video, but like even just spending that disbelief, how is it doing that? Like if it was fairy godparents, like if we're talking about Crocker here, then I get it. Crocker's keeping fairy godparents locked up for power and money. Fine. That logic checks out. But this... what? It's just sad more than anything that anyone would believe that. Like, the story associated with it isn't even close to believable. It's nonsensical. But yeah, I just had to at least briefly mention this here because I saw that in an email this morning with a hard believer of that being real evidence of the paranormal somehow. That's about it. See ya. $500 billion. Does that number even mean anything to you? It is so astronomically high that it almost feels fake. It just sounds make-believe, like made-up doubloons. Now, me being the turbo genius I am, I can process that number. In fact, it also happens to be how many wrinkles are in my big brain. Check this out. I just passed one hand through the other, and you'll never be able to figure out how I did it. $500 billion also happens to be how much money Nvidia just lost yesterday after DeepSeek slung its meat onto the scene. DeepSeek is a Chinese AI company that in many cases is actually more sophisticated than current AI models that we use, and it's open source. So this puppy fucking exploded onto the scene, #1 in the App Store. Everyone's gushing grannies over it because it is unbelievable. I learned about it a little bit last night on stream, but I've been doing a deep dive on it today. It is crazy, the scope of this, and just how far along this technology is already getting. NVIDIA wasn't the only one that got hit with the frying pan. Yesterday, a huge blow to the stock market occurred because of DeepSeek. It is, like, it can't be overstated just how big of a deal this technology is. And the fact that it's open source is also massive. Now, it's worth mentioning, as of making this video, NVIDIA stock has rebounded in a big way, like $260 billion. And it's probably only going to keep pumping, it seems. But I mean, it's like they're just grabbing Xbox 360 achievements at this point. Largest collapse in a single day, and largest rebound in a single day. But it is still a huge deal, and that hit they took wasn't, you know, for no reason, and the rebound isn't for no reason either. But I think NVIDIA is going to need to directly compete with DeepSeek now, because DeepSeek has proven they don't need to just, or you don't need to just keep buying top-of-the-line equipment, you know, more and more powerful chips to get this top-of-the-line performance. You can get that top-of-the-line performance without the biggest, baddest chips on the market. Yeah, almost $500 billion just got annihilated. It's like me in Path of Exile 2 when gambling, just losing all of my divine orbs. That just happened to NVIDIA. NVIDIA shares tanked 17%. The company lost a record $589 billion in market cap. Holy. Wow. Oh, man. Oh, their biggest shareholder went from 124 billion to 103 billion. He's in poverty like the rest of us now. How's he gonna survive? Yikes. Fucking brokey. Oracle also got hit hard. Start a GoFundMe for him? Yeah, we should. Chinese artificial intelligence company DeepSeek grabbing American attention and sending shockwaves through Wall Street due to its new tech, which some experts say rival that of OpenAI's ChatGPT. It's also catching investors off guard because of the low development costs for its API app, which Wedbush security analyst Dan Ives pegged at only $6 million. By comparison, OpenAI, Google, and other major US companies are on track to invest a total of roughly $1 trillion in AI over the coming years. Oh my god. These numbers just don't even feel real anymore. It just seems like actual nothing numbers, like fucking RuneScape gold. Now, to briefly explain why DeepSeek has just kind of fucking cowabunged onto the scene here and just administered a clobbering to some of the big boys in the industry, it's because its claims of how much more efficient it is, and its claims that they can back up. It uses cheaper chips, less powerful chips, so it's able to have a performance that matches, or even in some cases exceeds, AI that we currently have, while using much cheaper chips. So obviously people are looking at this as, oh, well, maybe we don't need the creme de la creme top-of-the-line GPUs from NVIDIA. You know, if we're able to have DeepSeek here that is so efficient, utilizing cheaper chips. On its Chinese site, DeepSeek blamed large-scale malicious attacks on its service, requiring it to temporarily limit new registrations. Existing users can log in as usual. It rivals OpenAI's ChatGPT and Meta's Llama 3.1. It was #1 on Apple App Store over the weekend. It's built the model using reduced capability chips from NVIDIA, which is impressive and thus has caused major agita for US tech stock. High praise. DeepSeek R1 is one of the most amazing and impressive breakthroughs I've ever seen, and as an open source, a profound gift to the world. So what does that mean? Who is this mysterious open source? Well, it means that, let's say I wanted DeepSeek. I could go get my grubby little paws on it and just download the model myself if my hardware was strong enough to run it. I imagine a lot of people aren't going to have hardware that's strong enough to run DeepSeek, but if you did, you could just hop on over and download the whole model and run it on your hardware. Now, as was mentioned in that article, they are claiming that there was a big cybersecurity attack on them, so they had to halt signups. but if you already had an account, you can still access DeepSeek. And from everything I've seen and read from those that do have access and have been using DeepSeek, it's very impressive. This isn't just a lot of phony baloney hype. It really is comparable to ChatGPT. And, of course, it is a Chinese AI app. Thus, there is censorship. Big time. I've seen the biggest one, no surprise, Winnie the Pooh, which just always makes me giggle. You can't even mention Winnie the Pooh in Marvel Rivals. That is like the ultimate sin. Like, if you say Winnie the Pooh in Marvel Rivals, they probably write down your gamer tag and store it somewhere in like this, you know, off-site hit list at the Marvel Rivals devs headquarters or something. And it's the same here with DeepSeek. I saw a few people goofing around with it, talking about Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping, and the model, in all the instances I saw, would not spit out anything for you. It wouldn't even noodle around with it. And in one case I saw it said that it was beyond its parameters. Winnie the Pooh and the Thousand Acre Wood is just too powerful for AI to comprehend. Too much honey. And in other cases, I saw that it would talk about Winnie the Pooh, but if you tried to connect Winnie the Pooh to Xi Jinping, then it would apologize and say that it can't really get into that. It just, you know, slam on the brakes there. Were you holding any Nvidia? I am not in the stock market, so no. Though I might get into the stock market now just to buy Nvidia. Oh, Nvidia already had a statement. DeepSeek is an excellent AI advancement and a perfect example of test time scaling. DeepSeek's work illustrates how new models can be created using that technique, leveraging widely available models and compute that is fully export control compliant. Most groundbreaking thing about the AI is that it's cheaper to run, it can do the same things faster / as fast using less power and resources. That's the impressive part. Well, not only that, it being open source is big. You can run this AI on a toaster, it's game-changing. You can download the large language model easily and use it privately on your computer. It no longer has insane power requirement. This whole thing is so fascinating to me. This is a company that has produced something for a handful of millions. From what I've read, it's like $6 million is what all up this has costs. And it is rivaling and even exceeding some of the other big boys on the block that cost billions. It's unbelievable, really. And I'm so curious to see how this continues to evolve. And the reason I harp on the open source so much is that I just always think that is such a step in the right direction to pushing industries, like the actual advancement of this kind of tech. Instead of like hoarding the Krabby Patty secret formula, the recipe or anything, by giving everyone access to it, especially when access to it is much easier because it's so much more efficient, more people can utilize it because they won't need such absurd computational power to use it. It's just, I'm just very curious to see where it goes, really. Yeah, I'll be keeping my eye on it, as I imagine most people in the world will be. It's a pretty fucking big deal. That's about it. See ya. 2 days ago it was tomorrow, yesterday it was today, now look at us. In the present. Today. And still no Epstein files. They treat these like Bubble Bass treats pickles on a Krabby Patty. Still no pickles, but it turns out he's just hiding them. They have the files, it seems. And instead of releasing it to the American public, they'd rather just give these binders that say Epstein Files Phase 1 to some influencers, so that way they can pose with it like a prized fish, where they're smiling and laughing about it like they're about to go to homecoming, instead of just releasing that information. It's so fucking weird. They're treating these extremely serious files with child sex traffickers in them as if they had just got like a baseball from their favorite MLB player who threw it into the crowd for them. It's just not being taken seriously. Not only by the people that have the binder, it seems, but by the actual GOP. I was going to mention this yesterday, but I decided to, you know, sit on my swamp ass and just stew. We'll wait to see what they say about it tomorrow, because I thought there was a chance maybe the House Judiciary Twitter account got hacked with this post. Like, surely they'd release a statement today, but no. They're just going to plug their ears and pretend it didn't happen. But I'm sure a lot of you saw yesterday the actual official House Judiciary Twitter account rickrolled the Epstein files. I shit you not. They posted this tweet, and when you click that link, it takes you to a rickroll. The tweet eventually got deleted, but it was up for hours. It wasn't like a brief thing that some random person scooted into the office and did as a joke. This was something that they posted and kept up for a while.
This shit is so outrageous, it has my voice cracking. My vocal folds are left in disbelief like they just watched a David Blaine stunt. Except this isn't like a magic trick or an illusion, this is all very real. They are treating the Epstein files like some kind of joke. This is one of the most infamous child sex traffickers in American history. And they are treating it as if it's not serious. Poof. What? And now they're just not going to ever address that this happened. They're just going to ignore it. That's craziness. Now, like I said at the beginning, I didn't expect the Epstein files to be released today because it's been very clear that that's just not coming. And I think we're at the point where even if they do ever release the Epstein files, there is no faith left, no trust that they won't be tampered with. Like, heavily redacted. They did release some things yesterday, but it was all old information. It wasn't anything new. There was like a couple of like tiny new tidbits, but not really. And at the end of the day, like I said, there's going to be so little trust that this hasn't been heavily fucking flubered with. Made that word up, but it sounds like it could apply. Like, it's a Schmeckeldorfing, it feels like, where the information, it might not even be accurate anymore. Because this has been such an absolute clown show. You can't even trust it. I also just don't even think it's ever going to be released. Period. Like, this has been something that they just keep teasing over and over again, like Beyond Good and Evil 2, and it just, nothing ever comes. It all just fizzles out. And then everyone just forgets about it in like 2 days' time. And I'm so tired of that. They had said the information would be released yesterday, and it was going to be huge. Like, they hyped the shit out of it. This is going to be the Super Bowl of Jeffrey Epstein files. We finally have the whole kit and caboodle. This is everything, and there's going to be repercussions. People are going to be thrown in jail. People are going to be arrested. Well, that didn't happen yesterday, so they said it's going to be today. It'll be February 28th at 8 a.m. sharp. It's just the fucking pesky FBI director did a little, shady business over here, and, well, we're getting our handle on it, but it's coming 8 a.m. February 28th. Well, still not here. I didn't expect it to actually be released today, but, much like a growth spurt in my 30s, it would have been a nice surprise to finally have them actually release these things. And I feel like in a week, it won't be here. A month, it still won't be released. And eventually people will just forget that it was ever even mentioned, or they might make like an offhanded comment about it like, oh no, we released those. What are you talking about? We stayed true to what we said. We released it. And it's just the information that's already been known for fucking years, with like nothing new added to it. Not what was promised, not what they said was actually coming, with all the arrests, all the jail time, and all these new names and all this new information about these evil fucking people that participated in this child sex trafficking. That has still not been released, and there's still not been consequences. So, when is that ever going to be released? Is it ever? And if it's not, why do you keep pretending that it is? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's infuriating. It just feels like all of it is just not being treated seriously at all. The fucking judiciary just making an actual joke out of it, just mocking the Epstein files, really just taking the whole thing of child sex trafficking and boiling it down to a fucking rickroll. That is beyond deplorable. And then just saying like, oh, the files are coming. Nah, they didn't. So what? Like, it's just, there are legitimately, like, nothing is taken seriously anymore by anybody or anything, it feels. I fucking hate it. It's got me spitting. I am covering these monitors in saliva. I am just flabbergasted. I feel like I'm in rock bottom right now, like with the amount of spit that I'm doing here. But I can't help it. It is unbelievable. Let's just set aside this instance of the House Judiciary rickroll. Why in tarnation on God's green earth would you want your House Judiciary to be cringe meme lord Reddit tier losers making rickrolls in the year 2025 of our Lord on anything, let alone something as serious as the Epstein files? How is that not embarrassing? How is that not shameful? I'll stop yapping and ranting about it, but it is just mind-boggling that they can do that and then nothing happens. They just get to pretend it never happened. They just don't even have the wherewithal to even mention it again or try and explain what led them to thinking that was a good idea, or explaining why the Epstein files that they've promised are still not being released. It's so fucking dumb. It's really about it. See ya.
Today was a big day, not only because I got hit with an aging beam, but also because of the National Emergency Alert test that went out that had the internet in a panic. And by that I mean a bunch of weirdos on Twitter that were making it seem like this was going to be an apocalyptic event, and warning everyone to shut off your phones, turn off all the electricity, resort to caveman Neanderthal mode. It's the only way to stay safe from all the 5G radiation that's going to be blasted through your cell phones into your brains and melt them from the inside out. Or there was also other conspiracy theories about how it's going to turn you into zombies. One of them was even very Kingsman-esque, where it's going to activate some kind of, like, vaccine-related microchip in everyone's brain that's going to turn them hostile and have people fighting each other, like it's that scene out of Kingsman at the church. All kinds of wild stuff. And I'm recording this after the fact, so if you're watching this, then I'm already dead. The alert test system took over, and it was the end of humanity. They were all correct. Now, to briefly explain in case you were in the dark, I'm sure you all got the message and maybe you don't know why. Basically, they stated that they were going to do an emergency alert test and everyone's phone was going to get it. Basically just an Amber Alert, but nationwide. This also isn't the first time they've done it, but it's the first time they've done it since the brainworms took over in society, where everyone's just constantly on edge and panicking about everything. So this one was a big deal for some reason. And now to briefly explain why I'm graying here like Gandalf, we were filming one of our new music videos for The Gentle Min. I took off all the prosthetics so I don't look as old in the face, but I haven't showered yet. I just really wanted to post this video because as of making this, the alert broadcast just happened. So it's still very fresh, so I wanted to talk about it. And I also want to show you some live footage we shot when the bombs dropped, when the test message was received by all of us.
Really?
Well, it's Sleepy Joe out here trying to test an emergency alert system, and I didn't give him consent, so a lot of people think he's activating the 5G latent within our DNA now.
Yep.
About to trigger the Marburgo virus or whatever, turn us into zombies.
What was that one?
What's it called? The
Marlboro?
Marburg, I think.
Marburg?
Something like that.
What is this? I've never heard of it.
One of the theories is that the signal from the emergency alert system is going to activate the virus and turn you into a zombie.
I mean, that's honestly pretty cool if it does.
So the experts on Twitter are saying turn off all electronics.
I'm not going to.
Nope.
15 seconds.
We're going to brace for impact.
I was going to say, I'm going to be
All right,
really
everybody, I
flexible.
want you to know how proud of you I am.
This has been a lot of
Just
fun.
in case this is the end.
5 seconds.
Hey, it's been great.
It's been a good run.
See you guys.
They're late.
Oh, he's sleeping again.
Was it 2 o'clock sharp?
I thought it was 2:30, but you said
It was 2, right?
I don't know. I didn't.
At times.
Does someone want to check out what it actually is happening?
Probably 2:30.
2:30.
Oh,
All right,
Jiminy,
we'll be back.
I'll be back.
Jiminy
We'll be back
Christmas.
later.
That was
All
4
right,
minutes.
I'm
You
rolling.
trying to open my wallet?
No. Well, it'd be
fine.
useless now when currency goes out of fashion.
Money means nothing.
Bottle caps and shit
Yeah,
like that.
the
All
barter
of
system
them.
again.
us that are left are going to trade in seashells.
Yeah. Y2K is coming back. The sequel.
So yeah, you guys saw the false alarm at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
They pushed it back to 2:20,
Mm-hmm.
so Joe could finish his nap. Now we're here.
I can't laugh super well at this.
Oh, this is like a horror movie.
It is.
Oh
I'll
God.
just like jump scare at the camera. The emergency alert goes off and I blast myself. At
The lights go out. You're hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
What time is it?
2:17.
All right.
We got 3 minutes.
Last
Keep-
3 minutes of everyone being conscious.
Do you have anything to say? They're never going to see this, but do you have
Yeah.
anything to say to them?
Whoever finds this footage, just know we did our best.
No.
Like
Both
how
of
you're
us.
just in the makeup.
Yeah.
With no explanation.
He already got hit with the alarm once.
Yeah.
God knows what's
this,
gonna happen.
this is what happens when the alarm goes
Got a
off.
fraction of his power.
They gave me the beta test.
Hit with a mop a bunch.
He upgraded his iPhone. Now look at him. This is what 5G does to a
The
man.
most recent update. Oh, jeez. I love the. It's like your body needs an outlet to laugh. 218. 218. No, it was an alarm to remind us. Yeah, watch it just be that. It's gonna be so annoying.
Oh!
Wait, why is mine the... Okay, now the...
Mine's not.
Mine is also not going.
Yeah,
Oh,
mine-
there it goes.
Mine's going.
That is not 220.
That's just the Amber Alert.
Also, I don't know what's happening to you guys. I'm okay.
Yeah, Matt's safe.
They hit me.
Maybe Matt's on the inside.
I just start levitating off.
I got nothing.
Wow.
Wait. Ah! Nobody's safe. Damn it. All my neurons have been rewired from the 5G they blasted us with.
Does anyone feel different?
I feel fine. I feel better.
Yeah. I only got one. You guys all got two.
Well, he did
I only got one.
Probiotics, I think, in mine, so I feel great.
You got the Johnson & Johnson and we got...
That's true.
I just have a sudden urge to buy Microsoft products.
All right, that was fun, guys.
Well, that was a cool video.
We'll have to wait to see the effects. There's going to be like fires outside and everything.
It's also still not 2:20 when they are supposed to do the test.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, they were trying to surprise
There you go,
everyone.
government.
Yeah, government's running early like
They
always.
tried to take us out first. And it didn't work.
All right. That was fun.
Just wait for it to hit 2:20.
Okay.
Maybe that was a little joke.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
The next one's gonna be like a harpy.
The next one's like
It's gonna be
missile
so-
inbound.
Can you imagine? It's just like a blood curdling scream.
Yeah.
Blood boil.
Yeah, I turned off Amber Alerts. I was like,
It's not my business.
I'm not helping them find them.
You could have prevented so many
All right, it's
cases.
2:20.
True,
I think
with
we're
my
in the
power.
clear.
Yeah, I think we're safe. We made it.
I would say we bombed out.
We're on the other side of history now.
Great job, guys.
I wonder how that one lady feels who tweeted about the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah. She probably feels pretty vindicated.
Yep.
Hey, it's me again. I've been de-aged back down to 29. Now here's the little after-action report now that we've had some time to sit on it, marinate on the juices here, post-national alert test. We're in a new world now. Everything has changed, everything is different, just as all the intellectuals on Twitter proposed. I'll drop the sarcasm, just another giant fucking nothing burger that was hyped up for no reason because fear-mongering is extremely lucrative for everyone that engages in it. This was just nothing. This isn't new. This has happened many times over the last decade even with testing these emergency alerts. Another leading theory and a lot of the copium that people are falling back on now since nothing happened with this is that it's all just preparation to get us ready for either an impending alien invasion or giant like alien news or some kind of like new viral outbreak that they're about to unleash on the world, shit like that. So it's basically just kicking the can further down the road like, no, you guys, we were correct. We just didn't know how deep the rabbit hole went or when exactly their nefarious plot would unfold. Another big one, I'm really tackling all of these because I find it so entertaining. Another big one is that this is going to be like their first step in mind control and mass surveillance. Since they spit this out to the whole country, they now have eyes on everyone. They have the ability to connect with everyone across the country. No shit, that's not new. Where have you been? Are you just stumbling out of cryosleep? How is this surprising that they have the ability to spit something out to the entire country? Like, privacy does not really exist anymore. And the government is always up your butthole right now because everyone has a phone, or a computer, or something that connects to the internet at their house. The government has all the information they could ever want about you at all times. They wouldn't need to run a national emergency alert test to somehow confirm that they can get to you, or speak things to you through the phone. They've been able to do that for like 2 fucking decades now. That's not new. So if this was some kind of like mind control frequency, they would have been able to do that in secret long ago because they have been able to connect to everyone in the country for a long time now. Like this whole thing is just so ridiculous. All of the hoopla over this alert test. It's just fucking silly. It's such baloney. And I just had to talk about it. That's really about it. So yeah. Yeah, the title's not clickbait. I find this to be an extremely interesting story. A dog just solved a murder. Okay, well, hold on. The dog itself didn't solve the murder. It's not Scooby-Doo. It didn't roll out there in the mystery machine and, unmask the villain or anything like that. It's not Air Bud. But a dog... The dog's presence and the way the dog was behaving helped lead officers in the right direction to find the murder suspect. There's a reference I'm sure all of you have heard before, and it happens when a dog tries to get a human's attention. You might hear someone say, "What's the matter? Timmy's stuck in the well?" And it's a reference to a show called Lassie. This joke was even made in Fairly Odd Parents back in the day. Also, I looked it up. Timmy never got stuck in a well in that show. He did end up on like an active minefield and like exposed to radiation. So it seems like the forces of nature really wanted him dead, but they never, stranded him in a well. But in earlier seasons, someone named Jeff did end up in a well. Regardless, the references existed for decades, and I always just wrote it off as a load of fish paste that's just there for good television. It would never actually happen in the real world, because most people would see a dog barking and going ballistic and just assume,
it's doing doggy shit. You know, not nothing out of the ordinary, no need to warrant a deeper investigation. But it turns out that a dog doing this exact behavior actually just helps solve a murder. And I learned about it today from a Law and Crime Network video that just got recommended to me. It is a fascinating and very sad case that I just wanted to talk about.
I need you to get fire, CID, and 04 out here. This looks like a body that's burning.
Officers were called out about a fire in a field, and when they got there, it turned out it was a body that had been lit on fire. So they began a deep investigation, obviously.
What's up, puppy?
Nearby, a white Labradoodle barks frantically, refusing to leave the scene.
Come here.
Officers try to capture the dog, but it evades them, as if guarding the site.
So this dog, in the pouring rain and hail, refused to leave the site. It was constantly barking, refusing to be captured, and refusing to leave. And officers started to wonder why. I mean, it must have belonged to the victim here, and its presence there could actually be really helpful in trying to figure out who this was, because the body was burned beyond recognition. That was the whole plan from the murderer, to set the body ablaze so that they couldn't identify who it was. And the dog being here and refusing to leave now gives them a really good chance at trying to figure out who it was by finding who the owner of the dog is.
You sure are hanging around here. Is that your person over there? Hey, the way that dog's hanging around. Is there anybody at the station that could bring us the chip checker? Like at the fire station or over to the PD? Is the dog trying to be protective or trying to lead us over there? Because it looks like she's trying to lead us over there.
The officer seems to be sniffing it out here, that this dog must have belonged to that person, and they try and catch it, they try and get animal control out there, but animal control doesn't. The following morning, a normal citizen calls animal control because the dog was still there the next morning, and after the citizen calls, animal control comes through, scoops up the dog, they check the chip, and now they have their case.
The citizen calls Robinson Animal Control, who are able to capture the dog and scan its microchip. They learn the dog is named Titan, and he belongs to Mandy Rose Reynolds, a 26-year-old from San Marcos, Texas. Police call the phone number linked to the dog's tag. They leave a message and quickly get a call back.
Robinson Police.
Yes, hi, my name's Mandy Reynolds, and I got a message that you guys found my dog.
Oh, perfect.
Mandy returns the police call, and what do you know? She's so happy that her dog's coming back. Man, Mandy really does sound full of jubilation right now.
Hi, I just got a message saying you guys found my dog.
We believe so. So, what is your dog?
He's a poodle retriever mix.
Poodle retriever mix?
Yeah, he's white. And we looked for him for a couple of hours, and...
How long ago was this that he's been out?
Oh, heck, it's been, I don't know, this would have been around 1 in the morning.
What, last night? About one last night?
Yeah, what time did you guys find him?
They ran the chip this morning.
For those of you with gifted ears, you might be picking up a little something fishy from this conversation here. And the officer seems to start getting a whiff of something a bit awry. It sounds like someone putting on a voice on Xbox Live. This is someone that their story isn't making sense.
So your name is Mandy Rose Reynolds.
Sure.
So about 1 o'clock last night, you and were at a rest stop.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yes. What? I mean, what is the interrogation about?
I can't even imagine what he went through, and then now there's a deceased person. Like, oh my God.
It's a shame the Oscar nominations are already locked in because, man, this is quite a performance that's being put on display here. A classically trained thespian, no doubt. You can really hear the emotion in the voice. Devastated to learn what is happening.
This number comes back to a different name. Are you on somebody's phone plan?
No, yes.
Okay. Whose phone plan are you on?
This would be my fiance's grandfather.
Okay, what's his name?
My fiance's grandfather?
Yes, I just wanted to verify. That way I can close that name off.
I'm going to be frank with you, sir. You know, I'm sorry that this happened.
Dogs are natural scavengers.
You think my little Titan would go? Oh my, detective! With all due respect, do not call me back.
Well, Titan is on a police hold. You're not going to be able to get him out.
Not Mandy on the other line is getting really combative, super defensive, and just kind of like freaking out multiple times and dodging simple questions. So the officers, acting on a hunch, do a welfare check at her apartment. And they find that it has been emptied and her car is missing. They then, of course, do a license plate running to try and find the car. They do find it like 500 miles away. They then also did get dental records back from the body that confirms that the deceased victim was indeed Mandy Rose Reynolds. So whoever was on the other line was 100% not Mandy.
She had recently opened her home to her cousin, Derek Joseph Dagno, giving him a chance to get back on his feet. What she didn't know was that this act of kindness would have devastating consequences. On April 8th, 2023, Wichita police spot Mandy's missing car. When officers attempt a traffic stop, the driver speeds off, leading them on a high-speed chase that reaches over 100 miles per hour.
It's fucking heartbreaking. It's truly just tragic. So, by all accounts, Mandy seems to just be a super nice person, and her cousin needed help. So, she did her best to help him, and he killed her for it. So, he shot her and then burned her body in a big plastic tub in that field. And stole her stuff, took the car, they found the car, and then they go on a high-speed pursuit. Now, this piece of shit is a career criminal. He has, like, aggressive criminal felonies dating all the way back to the time he was 15. He apparently was even in, like, a shooting when he was a juvenile. This is someone that should have never been back on the streets in the fucking first place. It's just so infuriating. This is someone whose whole life has been dedicated to just making the world a worse place. He is just an evil piece of shit. And then he took this woman's life. This woman who showed him nothing but kindness.
The chase ends at a grocery store where the driver crashes the car and then flees on foot into the store. He's able to hide for a little over 2 minutes on a shelf behind canned goods before police finally discover and arrest him.
Pull him out. 283, clear there. One in custody.
Aisle 5.
Aisle 5 might be withdrawn. Or ODing, sorry. Hey, brother, what'd you take? What'd you take?
Big time cleanup on aisle 5 here. This fucking imbecile hid behind the canned goods. The worst hide-and-seek player of all time. Don't know what that thought process was. They'll never find me behind the olives and canned tomatoes. No one ever checks there. And then this imbecile must have started boofing whatever drugs he had on him, just taking as much as he could so they wouldn't find that too, because when they pull him out, he's in and out of consciousness. And it's not like the officers came there and just started fucking peppering him. They didn't do anything. They approached him and then told him to leave the canned goods. Get out from your fortress of beets. Come out here with your ass in the air. And he can't do that because he's barely lucid. Holy shit.
Yeah, we gotta go that way.
Someone stay here and make sure
The car, too. The car.
He's identified as Derek Joseph Dagno, Mandy's 27-year-old cousin. Just days before the murder, surveillance footage would later show Derek purchasing a gas can, a shovel, and a large plastic container. Evidence from the car links him to the crime. Inside, they find the pistol used to kill Mandy.
The evidence was overwhelming. It took a jury only half an hour to convict him. Life in prison was the sentence for this subhuman evil stain. And you want to know something crazy? After the sentencing, his brother had a little something to say about it.
After the verdict was delivered, tensions boiled over in the courtroom, leading to a heated argument between members of both families. The conflict escalated when Dagno's brother-in-law attempted to strike someone and was escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs. He was later released.
That's unfathomable to me. You're telling me Bubba here was so upset at this verdict that he tried to strike someone? His fucking brother just killed an innocent woman. And then he tries to put his hands on somebody because he's so mad about it? It looks like the only things he's ever put his hands on is the ban button on a subreddit. Like, come the fuck on, man. This is unreal. There is no world where they got the wrong person for this murder. The evidence is overwhelming. They have the surveillance camera footage of him buying the material that he used to burn her body. They also have the weapon used that killed her in his car. Like, there isn't, like, wiggle room that maybe they got the wrong guy here or he was framed or set up. That's just not possible. It's very clear that they have the right person in the slammer now for life. And yet this guy still gets so salty about that he tries to strike someone. That blows my mind. It really does. It's an extremely sad case, but I just found it so interesting how important the dog was as a piece of this puzzle to identifying the body and then having that phone call with Mandy. Like, the dog did help lead them down the right path to finding the murderer responsible. Though I do think they would have eventually gotten there anyway because they were able to get the dental records to confirm who the victim was, so they probably would have still ended up there regardless. But by having the dog at the scene and being able to run that chip, which led to that phone call from Mandy, I do think was very helpful in the case and the investigation. So, yeah, I kind of just wanted to go over this one a little bit. That's it. So, yeah.
There's many different kinds of crime. Comes in all shapes and sizes, like animal crackers. You have your serious crimes, like murder and cheating in Marvel Rivals. You have your not-so-serious crime, like smoking weed or crossing the street at a not-specified cross. And then you have your unforgivable Omega-level mutant crimes, like what I just learned about last night that happened in the UK. This is the curious case of the evil cyber farter. Yeah, it's a real thing. This lady got arrested for cyber farting, and it's quite a fascinating deep dive. UK woman gets 12-month term for cyber farting at X. What an interesting night we're having already. What? What does that even mean? It's the first ever case of cyber farting. That's the actual term they're calling it. That's not like a meme or anything. It's in the Economic Times. Well, first of all, like, how do you even cyber fart? And second of all, why would it be a criminal case of cyber farting? 25-year-old woman in the UK has pled guilty in a case described as the first of its kind involving cyber farting. The woman, Rhiannon Evans, man, I can't read. Watching the Soup Bandit and the way that she speaks English has actually deteriorated my frontal lobe here. I'm struggling. Wow. Rhiannon... I know I've gone illiterate. Fuck. She hit me with the stupid neurons. They were contagious. Rhiannon Evans was ordered to pay nearly €300 after admitting to sending videos of herself passing gas to her ex-boyfriend's partner. No, to her, I can't read. To her boyfriend's ex-partner. The court also sentenced Evans to a 12-month community order along with a 2-year restraining order. Additionally, she must attend 15 rehabilitation sessions and observe a 60-day alcohol abstinence period. The incident occurred over the Christmas and New Year period, starting on December 22nd, continuing through the 1st. Evans sent multiple videos to Deborah... I'm not going to try. I'm interrupting this life-changing broadcast to bring you an important announcement. Our soap is fully restocked. Cheeky is available again. Rejoice. It's available at usecheeky.com. We've also introduced a soap tray and a fragrance-free soap. It's called just soap, because that's all it is. There's no fragrances. It's for people that have allergies to fragrances or scents. Also, by popular demand, we have turned on international shipping, but beware, sports fans. It's very fucking expensive. We make all of our soap here in America, so international shipping is no joke when it comes to prices. But people said that they really want that, so we turned it on, but you will probably be paying more for shipping than you are for the actual soap. And that's not us, by the way. We don't set the shipping price. That's just old Uncle Sam coming into our buttholes here and charging an arm and a leg to ship internationally. But anyway, Cheeky's fully restocked. Use Cheeky.com for the best bars of soap ever made. So it's because she broke wind and sent it to this lady unsolicited? So I guess like it's more of like a harassment charge, not so much... Like the farting wasn't really the issue, I don't think. I guess it was the harassment? I don't know. What an interesting case. Didn't you fart under oath in court? Man, this is how rumors start. No, brother. I didn't fart in court. When I went to court in the Carl Jobst versus Billy Mitchell lawsuit, Billy Mitchell's team used my fart as evidence. I was not in there passing gas. So if you look into the case and you go to the Billy Mitchell team, you will see actual ass. It was on day 6 of the trial when I was called in as a witness. Still such a badass picture. But yeah, this is entered into the official evidence from Billy Mitchell's team. I did not fart in court. His team submitted it for some reason. The videos caused her distress and anxiety, leading her to contact the police. Prosecutor Diane Williams stated that the videos were considered indecent or grossly offensive. Describing one of the clips, she said, "She proceeds to pass gas by placing the camera on her bottom and passing the gas." Over a span of days, Evans sent multiple similar videos, each showing her smiling at the camera while passing wind. Evans' attorney, Harriet Gorst, Man, that's some goofy shit. Harriet Gorst attributed the incident to ongoing issues between Evans' partner and her regarding child contact. Gorst stated at the time she sent these videos she had some drinks and she sent them, understanding now this has caused the victim some distress. She sent them without malicious intent. However, the prosecution disagreed, with Williams stating, "It was purely malicious. She was smirking throughout, found it hilarious, but the victim didn't." Why? Why wouldn't she find that hilarious? It's a fart. That is inherently silly. Like, yeah, it's weird to just get sent one by someone you don't really know and don't really like. But I gotta be honest, I don't know if it's criminal. I wouldn't go that far. You hear about the plant in Sydney that reeks of socks and garbage that had 3-hour-long lines of people coming to smell it? Why? No. Why? Why is that like an event people would want to line up for to smell stink? In a victim impact statement, she expressed her desire to feel safe in my home. I can't sleep with the flatulence boogeyman lurking via cyberspace. I feel jeopardized. The court ordered Evans to pay €100 in compensation and then €200 in court costs. She must also complete 15 rehab sessions and abstain from alcohol for 2 months. Additionally, a 2-year restraining order prevents Evans from contacting her. Imagine going to rehab for cyber farting. That's almost insulting to the whole idea of rehabilitation. Imagine that being on your record. Yeah. She's gonna have a hard time finding employment. The cyber farter is gonna brand her for life. A damn shame. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, as they say. Look at the photo of the cyber farter. She looks guilty. Is it in this article or it's a different article? Let me see. 25-year-old learns fate in first ever fart.
We will leave no
case.
stone unturned until the people responsible are caught.
This is the latest from the newsroom. The Premier of New South Wales.
Okay, here. Is this her? Is that the cyber farter?
Rihanna was arrested at her home in Carnarvon and will be sentenced this week.
That's so crazy to me. Imagine wasting police resources to go catch the cyber farter. Arrested in her home. She must have been so fucking confused. What do you mean I can't just fart? What happened to this country? There's a membership debate. Can't film myself farting anymore? I imagine they broke in like that meme where like the authorities kick in the door and like rappel down and then smash a vase against the wall.
She's reaching for her ass! Don't let her! Get her! Get her! Shoot! Shoot! She's gonna fucking do it! Thousands line up to smell plant that reeks of gym socks and rotting garbage. This looks like that shit from Harry Potter when that lady lifts it up and it starts squealing. Tall, pointed, and smelly, the corpse flower is scientifically known as Amorphophallus titanum, or Bungabanki. Bungabankai. Bankai? Holy shit! This is serious then. 20,000 admirers filing past for a moment in her increasingly pungent presence.
That she's starting to open, and we have been waiting for this.
Yes, we have.
Species of the horticultural variety.
I think everyone here at the Royal Botanic Garden Sydney won't be sleeping tonight.
I know what she means. They're so excited they won't be able to sleep. But I love the idea that this thing smells so fucking bad that it stains the people's nostrils and they never sleep again and then just eventually die. See, like, that'd be a cool SCP spin on it. Here's the Risa Temelis. Flower of Nurgle. Yeah. I really want to smell it. I feel like the smells is, like, very overhyped on shit. So, like, when we did that Sir Strumming video, I went in there kind of expecting it to not be as bad as people make it seem on YouTube, and it wasn't. Same with the durian. I feel like smells are just, like, a really overhyped thing, or I'm just smell blind, and it doesn't bother me as much as it does for most. I've become addicted to the wacky stories inside edition covers, and I've got a spicy one for you that's fresh off the press. This bun is straight from the oven. It is brand spankin' new. It's about a Secret Service agent who allegedly breaks into a hair salon to use the bathroom, and then leaves everything unlocked with an alarm blaring, which summons 2 more authorities to go in there and just kind of hang out and take some mints before leaving. It is a baffling story, and I use the word allegedly here, even though there's security camera footage that show her going up to the door, putting tape over the camera, and then going into the facility. The only thing that's alleged at this point is whether or not she left a floater or just took a pee.
And controversy over what happened at a hair salon near a Kamala Harris event in Massachusetts. A Secret Service agent can be seen on surveillance video covering up the camera. Then EMS workers were spotted inside eating mints from the salon and reportedly using the bathroom. But the question is, did someone break in?
If you ask a tiny brain homunculus, the answer is a resounding yes. I feel like there's no other explanation here, because she is on camera grabbing a chair in order to boost herself up so she can tape over the security camera. Who does that if they have permission to use the facility to take a shit? That doesn't make any sense. And I couldn't help but giggle very hard when the other authorities show up and just start taking mints with the alarms blaring after the Secret Service agent busts in here. What else could possibly be the explanation for climbing up and covering the camera if she had permission? Oh, well, actually, she's a very shy pooper, and the frequency of the cameras interrupt her circadian rhythm, and it makes it hard for her to shit in public, so she did this in order to block all of the infrared 5G so she could, you know, take a dump in peace. Like, there's just nothing that makes sense. There's no explanation for why the Secret Service agent would climb and cover the camera if this was all by the book. Just a standard handshake agreement that you can go piss and shit in my toilet.
That's a Secret Service agent on the porch of a beauty salon. The agent was part of a detail assigned to protect Kamala Harris when she appeared at a fundraising event in Pittsfield, Massachusetts 2 weeks ago. The salon was closed for the day. Now look, 2 minutes later, the agent returns and pulls a chair over. Then she climbs on top, tears off some tape, and covers the lens.
The Secret Service as a whole has been in some boiling hot water recently. Their reputation is worse than chickenpox right now, for obvious reasons, like the Trump assassination attempt. Then we had the former Secret Service director make an absolute fool of herself at the hearing, a complete embarrassment, which then led to her stepping down from her position because she overdosed on cringe. And now this. The hits just keep coming. Now that's what I call music volume 55. This shit is crazy. And I'm not even talking about what came out of her ass. So, So the Secret Service is trying to make the claim that they had permission to be there, or at least they were under the impression that they had permission to be there, which I'm just going to say is a bunch of barnacles. That's some fucking horseradish right there. Nobody would cover the camera if they weren't doing anything wrong. That doesn't make any sense.
The beauty salon owner says when she opened her shop later that day, the lock on the door appeared to have been picked. And when she checked her interior surveillance camera, she found this shocking scene. The alarm going off and two uniformed women, one of them grabbing mints off the counter. A source tells Inside Edition that the women were not Secret Service, but apparently were among local first responders working with the Secret Service team.
I love how the alarm is just blaring this entire time, and these two authorities show up, and you expect they'd be like trying to figure out what's going on, like, who's the burglar? Where are they at? You know, the Hamburglar just came in here and caused mayhem and left a whole number 2 in the toilet. We gotta find the culprit. But instead, what they're doing is just taking some mints. I guess they were under the impression that the alarm was the mint alarm that was welcoming them in to just grab some mints.
So, why did they enter the beauty shop? According to reports, to use the bathroom. But even if they're not Secret Service agents, some are still blaming the embattled agency.
Secret Service agents broke in to that salon owner's place.
A Secret Service spokesman tells Inside Edition the agency has reached out to the beauty salon owner. Our personnel would not enter or instruct our partners to enter a business without the owner's permission.
Yes, of course. When I get permission to do something, I usually like to do it in the most suspicious fashion possible. So if I was invited to grab a necklace from a jewelry store in the display case, I would probably do that while wearing a ski mask and breaking the glass open with a big sledgehammer. What kind of fucking putrid drivel is coming out of their mouth with this? What do you mean? The lock was picked, she covered the camera, the alarm is blaring. How was there any semblance of an understanding that this was a completely normal interaction where they had permission to be there? That doesn't make sense. It's just a violation of this business owner's constitutional rights. This Secret Service agent didn't even need toilet paper in the bathroom because she was busy wiping her ass with the Constitution. This shit is so foul.
The president of the county ambulance service says the paramedics inside were using a bathroom they were told they could use by people in supposed authority.
How? The alarm is blaring. What did they think was going on there? A shardy party or something where everyone was just welcome to use the bathroom and the alarm was just to, you know, get everyone's attention that, hey, this bathroom is available to just wreak havoc on? How could anyone get the impression that this bathroom is totally open while the alarm is blaring the entire time and the business owner and nobody is even there to be seen? How do you get that impression?
We spoke to former Secret Service agent Jim Rathman.
Entering, using the bathroom, eating the candy, that part is not something that is normal and should not have happened.
Obviously, it shouldn't have happened. I can't imagine it's standard protocol here. No one's expecting the Secret Service agents to be wearing a diaper that they'll soil themselves in where they don't get bathroom breaks or something and they just have to hold it forever. But they're expecting some level of decorum where they can feel safe knowing that the Secret Service isn't just going to pick their locks to use their toilet. You know what I mean? A spokesperson reiterated that the personnel wouldn't enter or instruct partners to enter without owner's permission. They believed they had it here. They then offered to pay for damages, cleaning, or the business's private alarm bill. The owner said they were happy with the apology and it brought a level of accountability. However, they said, when they cleaned up, they left the tape on my camera and they left my back door completely unlocked. What could have happened in that hour and a half or 2 hours that you guys left the building unlocked? Which is a really good point. Yeah, thanks for doing the bare minimum of taking some level of accountability, even though you're trying to weasel your way out of just admitting that a Secret Service agent had the grumbly tummy and needed to use a bathroom immediately, so they picked a lock and broke in. That, to me, seems like the most likely explanation for all this, but I'm no crackshot detective or anything. But even with you offering to pay for any damages that might have been incurred by the business, it still fails to account for how much worse this could have been since the lock was allegedly picked and since there's still camera or tape on the camera. The salon was left without any defenses. Its force field was shut down from the inside here. It was just left completely open and accessible to anyone. as illustrated by 2 other authorities coming in and taking some mints. Like, this could have been significantly worse for the salon here. It's just lucky no one decided to act while the camera was disabled and everything was unlocked. So yeah, just another Secret Service L here. That's really about it. So yeah. Alright, it's time to clear out the pool. I'm diving in right away. I know most of you found me thanks to my acting career. I starred in The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. I wasn't the lead role, but I was the most important role. I was the glue that held the entire franchise together. My character was District 8 Hospital Helper, a character that is still celebrated and studied extensively in the theatrical arts universities to this day. And this is an old wound, but I'll pour salt in it briefly. I was snubbed for the Oscars that season due to a little behind-the-scenes corruption. I know we can never forget the riots that year due to my absence from the category of Best Actor. District 8 Hospital Helper is still a timeless performance, and I'm getting a bit lost. I don't usually like to bring this up because it feels rather vain and even a little braggadocious to be tooting my own horn and discussing my acting achievements, but the reason I'm mentioning it now is because it's applicable to what I want to talk about today. Hollywood's full of fucking weirdos. Like, straight up, I'm just gonna feed you the vegetables. Hollywood is just fucking evil. There is so much awful shit that goes on in that industry. I don't even know where to begin. Now, this isn't to say that while I was on the set of The Hunger Games for 2 weeks, I noticed terrible things happening to actors or actresses or anything shady, because I didn't. Everyone I met seemed very normal. Jennifer Lawrence asked for my autograph, which I kindly obliged. Nothing really gave me the heebie-jeebies about the experience, but there was one thing that I always found a little fucked up. One of the scenes I was in took place outside at night, and it was very cold that evening. It was like 40 degrees out, and this scene called for rain. So to simulate rain, they had this piping overhead with holes in it that they pumped hose water in, and just had rain pouring on us. And that shit was like ice. It was fucking brutal. And a couple of the older actors that were on set for that scene had to be rushed inside to the tents for emergency warmth due to a hypothermia risk. I've mentioned that on stream before, but it's always just struck me as like a weird thing that could have been handled a little better. It just seemed a little irresponsible. But other than that, I didn't have any like noteworthy bad experience with the whole situation, even though it was a huge Hollywood production. I didn't have fucking Harvey Weinstein in a trench coat come up to me behind one of the tents or anything. Like, it was just a really normal and fun experience. But I'm not stupid enough to think that my one experience in Hollywood is indicative of the industry as a whole. There is an unholy mountain of evidence about the terrible shit that goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood, especially when it comes to like child actors and shit like that. Like, there is so much deplorable garbage that goes on in Hollywood, it makes your head spin. Almost everything you ever read about like the behind the scenes of Hollywood is so fucked up. You have very well-respected industry veterans coming forward to highlight some awful shit that's gone on over the years, and that brings us to the clip I'd like to show you today that is the catalyst for me wanting to even talk about the whole subject. This comes from an actress whom you might recognize from her biggest recent role in Stranger Things Season 4, where she played Chrissy. Her real name is Grace Van Dien, and she streams pretty regularly on Twitch under the name Bluefy. A couple days ago, before starting her Valorant stream, she was just talking to chat and mentioned that she's recently turned down 4 acting projects due to a horrible experience or experiences she has had in the industry with her bosses. So I'll go ahead and play you the clip right now. Well, there's a clip that's going viral, but I want to play you the entirety of that section so you get the full context instead of just the 60 seconds.
In the last 2.5 weeks, I've turned down 4 movies. Because here's the thing. I've seen that some people are upset with me for turning down acting projects and deciding to stream more, but the fact of the matter is the last few projects I've worked on, I didn't have the best experiences with some of the people I had to work for, and with streaming I get to choose who I hang out with, who I talk to, etc., etc. Yeah. One of the last movies I did, one of the producers asked me to, like, he hired a girl that he was sleeping with, and then he had her ask me to have a threesome with them. So, like, that's my boss. And then I didn't, and I cried, and I was so upset. But it's like, when people are like, how is streaming better for your mental health? That's how. I get to stay inside my home and play video games, and I don't have my boss asking me to have sex with them. So that's how this is better for my mental health.
That's absolutely horrible to hear, and it also really fucking sucks that I'm not even surprised to hear it. With all of the information that surfaced about the behind the scenes with these Hollywood elites, the amount of exploitation, especially sexual exploitation in the industry, is just completely unforgivable. And just judging from her story, it feels like this wasn't the producer's first rodeo doing this, of trying to solicit sex out of his employees, or try and coerce employees into sexual encounters. It seems like by having the girl that he hired to fuck be the one to ask her, it was supposed to be like this layer of like plausible deniability. So if Grace did speak out, he'd be like, oh, whoa, no, I would never do that. That was that girl. She's a real loose cannon. That wasn't me. Absolutely not. And now you're blacklisted in Hollywood for even saying that. Now, of course, I don't know who this producer is, so I'm not able to pull up like the scouting report or resume, but I would wager a guess that they've probably done this before on up-and-coming talent to try and give them like this push to do it, because the perception is, this is my boss. If I say no, I might get let go of the project. This could have wide-reaching ramifications for my career going forward. Like, this could cause me problems in the future, so I guess I'll just go along with this sexual advance from this guy. Clearly awful, evil shit. I think it's no surprise that Grace would choose to focus on something like streaming where she has all the power, as opposed to a slimy, fucking pathetic subhuman worm like this producer that she's mentioning here. And this is just the publicly available information. I can't even imagine, I can't even fucking fathom with my tiny little smooth reptile brain the number of actors and actresses over the years that have most likely quietly suffered behind the scenes. Very similar to what Grace Van Dien's gone through, but they haven't had a voice to talk about it. It's an awful thing. And I would like to make it clear, because I do see people bring this up, this isn't something that's exclusive to just women in Hollywood. This happens to men too. Quick examples right off the top of my head. Terry Crews, Brendan Fraser. Like, it is something that is just a widespread problem in Hollywood itself. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure women are the main victims to these evil Hollywood elite fiends, but it's not exclusive to just women. Men, as well as children too, are very real victims that are being preyed upon by these monsters that are abusing their power and taking advantage of everyone they can. It's sickening. It really is. Like, it's a horrible situation, and it totally makes sense why Grace would focus more on something like streaming when she's had these experiences in that industry. Like she mentions, in streaming, you are your own boss. You choose your hours, you choose who you play with, who you talk to, what you're playing. You respond to the chat messages you want to. You're not obligated to. Like, it is totally in your control. Whereas in acting in Hollywood, you don't choose your coworkers. You don't choose anything about what you're doing, and you have to play along. And especially in Hollywood, where if you don't play along, this fucking ring of evil vampires is connected so tightly that if you are someone that rocks the boat, you get blacklisted and you won't land future roles. That has been well documented as well, that there is like an actual Hollywood blacklist for people that are maybe a little too forthcoming with what's happening behind the scenes. Like, it's a scary spot full of scary, powerful people. Grace Van Dien doesn't mention this producer's name. And I think that's a very important thing to notice. And it's not like she did anything wrong by keeping his name a secret. But I feel like the reason she wouldn't name and shame this person, and she would have every right to, is because the person has so much power in the industry. Whether that's lawyers or general industry pull, where if she did out them publicly, he would pull strings to ensure she never works a day in her life again in that field. There is such a huge risk to her should she speak out against these people. I imagine this is the primary reason why a lot of these people are still in those positions of power, because their victims feel like they can't speak out, or else it's a huge risk to their own safety, their own financial well-being, their career. Like, there's just a lot of potential problems that could arise from them just even speaking out about it. It's terrifying. It really is. And it's horrible what Grace has gone through. It fucking sucks to hear that. It's awful. And my heart breaks for everyone in the industry that's had similar experiences to Grace. It's honestly, Hollywood is just so fucking corrupt. There are so many awful people that operate in that industry and have openly operated in that industry for quite some time now. Now, I'm not saying everyone in Hollywood's bad, of course. There are going to be some good people in Hollywood, absolutely. It's not 100%. But we can't dismiss the fact that there is an outrageously large amount of scum and fucking terrible things that have been happening behind the scenes for years. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about all of that. That's really about it. So yeah. This is an emergency. There is no time to waste. No time for dilly-daddle. Go check your butter right now if you've purchased it from Costco recently. There is a chance that your life is at risk. In fact, if you're watching this, then I'm already dead. Nearly 80,000 pounds of defective, dangerous butter has been recalled from Costco in an effort to save as many lives as possible in the wake of this catastrophe. Costco was selling butter without the label containing information, vital information to the consumer, that butter contains milk. And because of this, so many American lives have been put in jeopardy. Because how are they supposed to know that butter contains milk if it's not put on the label? So they've recalled 79,200 pounds. The FDA is doing their best to save us from this unlabeled butter menace. But it may already be too late for some of the stupidest fucking people on the planet. I highly doubt there's been a single fatality here from the unlabeled butter villain. I would be shocked, but if there is a single person who has dropped dead from it, they probably weren't going to make it much longer anyway if they were too stupid to fucking realize that butter contains milk. Their goose was already cooked. I'm not going to pull any punches, no reason to sugarcoat it. They weren't going to last long in the first place. The only people that have an excuse for not knowing that butter contains milk are toddlers, like actual 6-year-olds, but they're not going to the grocery store to buy themselves some butter. Like, every adult should know this by now, but I feel like we're reaching a point where there's people that unironically believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows, so I guess I shouldn't be as surprised as I am, but when I saw this headline, I was stunned. Absolutely stunned. I thought it was fake. I thought it had to be. But no, it's real. The FDA has recalled 79,200 pounds of Costco butter due to the undeclared allergen. The allergen being milk. Now, to bring us back down to earth real quick, I actually do think there is a positive to take from this, aside from like the obvious silliness of people not knowing that butter contains milk. I do think there is something good here where we have strict labeling protocol and rules around labeling because it is super important. It's a life and death in some cases. If you don't have like strict protocol in place for labeling, you'll end up with like fucking Pink Sauce 2.0, where you have the dumbest label of all time that looks like it's AI generated from Cleverbot, right? Like, the ingredients need to be accurate. People need to know what's in the products they're buying because there could be something in there that could cause them harm. So labels really do matter in a huge way. You need to have these labels be accurate, and in this case, it wasn't. It didn't say contains milk. I don't think it needed to, but it didn't, so they recalled it in order to get the label perfected. So that way everything is accurate. So that is good, but it's still extremely sad that butter even needs that in the first place. Like, you should know, butter has milk. It's embarrassing that this was viewed as an emergency that needed a big recall, so that way the butter could have the contains milk label on it. Like, that is something that I don't even think needs to be present in the first place. People should know butter has milk. It's just unnecessary. But since it's been standard protocol on the labeling for so long that butter has the contains milk label, I suppose it can be viewed as a positive thing that they're taking it seriously enough to recall it to put it back on.
Costco is recalling nearly 80,000 pounds of butter because of an undeclared allergen. The butter was sold in stores across Texas and includes the Kirkland Signature salted and unsalted sweet cream butters. Apparently, the company did not list milk as an ingredient, which could lead some people to think it's dairy-free. If you do not have an allergy to dairy, it is okay to use, but if you are allergic, you need to toss it out and contact Costco for a refund.
And then once you finish that, promptly contact your local education center for a refund on all the wasted years you spent in class, because it clearly did you no good, you bumbling imbecile, and then go check yourself into Arkham Asylum, because you are fucking insane for not being able to recognize that butter has milk. The only time you will ever find dairy-free butter is when it is labeled dairy-free butter, as some kind of like vegan alternative. That is plastered all on the branding. There's never going to be a time where you see just normal butter somehow not have milk in it. It's impossible. I can't even imagine a hopeless world where some consumer is so mindless and just such a fucking drone that they go to the supermarket and pick up butter, an item they've been familiar with their whole life, look it up and down and notice that it doesn't say it contains milk. So all of a sudden they believe it doesn't have milk, and then they go home and die because it turns out they're allergic. Like, that's what kind of place is this? The recalled products, which were both produced and distributed in Texas, include 1,300 cases of unsalted sweet cream butter and 900 cases of Kirkland Signature salted sweet cream butter. So none of the butter was safe, because all of it was missing the crucial contains milk label on the butter. The products all come with Best Buy dates between February 22nd, 2025 and March 29th, 2025. Sleep in fear. If you've had Costco butter sitting in your fridge recently, you might be harboring a fugitive. You need to check right now, or else you'll be tossing and turning all night wondering, do I have one of the violative products in my fridge right now? In the trading card community, misprints are worth tons of money. But in the real world, when it comes to real products, misprints cost people lives. You are not safe. If you have any Costco butter, please proceed with the utmost caution. I would recommend perhaps dressing in a hazmat suit before handling your Costco butter as you investigate the Best Buy date and try and locate whether or not it says contains milk. Vital allergen information for your butter. I love how they're displaying the Costco butter here in the articles, by the way. It looks like the wanted posters from One Piece. Like, they got the butter up there like there's a bounty for it, like a reward. And I guess there kind of is. You could easily just get some free money from Costco if you have some of this faulty butter. You could just say like, oh, I didn't know that butter contained milk, and they'll give you a refund, I guess. So, I mean, that's kind of a little free money glitch there if you want to use that. But I will say, if there's anyone that genuinely bought this butter thinking that somehow it didn't have milk, you need to be put on a list for dangerously stupid people. I know I've said that a few times, and I'm only half kidding, honestly. I do feel like there actually is a level where someone is so dumb that it is detrimental to the people around them and could actually just be dangerous. And I think this would be like a perfect way of identifying those kind of threats. Absolute fucking morons that are outraged, like, How could you have let this product slip through the cracks without the contains milk allergen information? You almost murdered my whole family with this. Like, if there's anyone out there like that, that is someone that needs to be monitored, because they are so fucking stupid that it is going to be a problem soon, if not already. Now, they're taking this pretty seriously from what I can tell, and normally that'd be something to be happy about, that they're being, you know, like as diligent on it as they can. Like recently with the listeria outbreak from Boar's Head and all that. Like, that's something extremely serious. That's an emergency that needed to be taken seriously. This is a fucking joke. This is embarrassing, is what it is. That it's like an all hands on deck red alert situation because butter went out there without the contains milk label slapped on it. Because they must think every American is so fucking stupid that if it's not posted on the label, they might be liable for a lawsuit because someone might be dumb enough to think that somehow this butter was in the clear and they'd be allergic to milk and die from it. Like that, do you know how sad that is? Do you know how fucking sad that is? So the FDA has not put out information on what to do if you have purchased these recalled items, nor has it shared if there have been any illness or adverse reactions from consuming the product. The usual course of action is to either discard them or return them to your place of purchase just in case. So yeah, anyway, that's the big Costco butter breakdown. That's about it. See ya. There's a story floating around that's piqued a lot of interest, and a lot of people have wondered if I've seen it. It's about North Korean soldiers that allegedly have become addicted to adult content online, since for the first time in their lives, they have less restrictions on internet usage while they're fighting for Russia against Ukraine. So, North Korean soldiers that are fighting with Russia, they've apparently gone full gooner after having their Sharingan awakened with this unfettered internet access, at least according to Gideon Rackman, a Financial Times Foreign Affairs commentator. A usually reliable source tells me that the North Korean soldiers who have deployed to Russia have never had unfettered access to the internet before. As a result, they are gorging on pornography. A classic source, trust me bro moment. However, this guy does have some prestige with that title, I think. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the Financial Times or anything. It's not like he really dove into the lore or explained where he got this information from. He just kind of made it like a mic drop moment and then walked away. So this could just be a guy pulling shit out of his ass. It's very possible. The U.S. Defense Department spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Charlie Dietz, was even asked about it and said that he couldn't confirm any North Korean internet habits or virtual extracurriculars. He went on to say that they're instead more focused on serious aspects of North Korea's involvement, if any, in Russia's military operations, and that the question about whether or not the North Korean soldiers are going auga at their phone screens when looking at honkers should be asked to Moscow instead. Of course, it's impossible for me to know whether or not the claim is true that North Korean soldiers are now gorging on pornography. I'm not there. I'm not looking over their shoulder, breathing down their neck, going, hey, what you watching there? So I have no way of knowing. It doesn't seem like there's any strong evidence to support the claim, but whether or not it's true, it's an interesting thought that I want to talk about briefly. We had a similar topic that I talked about like 5 months ago when there was a story about this remote tribe that had recently got internet access, and there was a viral story about how they've now become addicted to porn and it's destroying their entire community and all of that. So this isn't the first of its kind here, though in that case that was very overblown and dramatic for the sake of clicks, and in this case it's too early to tell, but there's no evidence to suggest that North Korean soldiers are right now in the middle of big-time gooning. On Reddit, however, the front page, they have this photo right here that claims it's a picture of a North Korean soldier that was watching girls dancing all day, but it looks like a really staged photo. I mean, the guy looks super happy. He looks like he's on cloud nine right there. That is a man who is at peace with whatever is on his phone. But it really feels like this picture is not authentic. And then from the same Reddit account, they also posted this, which is a short video of a North Korean soldier apparently watching girls dancing on social media. To me, they just feel more fake than a fleshlight, just very phony baloney staged photos. I don't know why, maybe to capitalize off how viral this story has become. It just, to me, doesn't seem real, but it is very possible it is. But I haven't seen any actual journalists report on that photo or that video, so I don't know if the authenticity has been verified or anything. But putting it through the Charles sniff test smells like bullshit to me. Who really knows? But the idea is interesting because when you grow up with access to the internet, there's a lot of things that become normal to you that are incomprehensible to those that don't have that. There's the obvious, like, information, access to others, videos, like an infinite number of things change drastically with internet access. But since the focal point of this story was porn, I guess I'll talk on that aspect too. In North Korea, porn is Voldemort. You don't say its name, but it does exist. Like, there is a consumption of pornography in North Korea, even though it is forbidden. It's usually through the black markets, purchasing magazines or films and such, but it's not something that's like officially condoned, and it does carry a severe punishment, at least as I understand it. So it's not something most people have access to in an easy way. So as a North Korean soldier, if you go fight somewhere overseas and you have access to it on your phone, that is a game changer experience, because prior to that, most likely the only way you'd ever really see a naked person is if you saw them in person, right? Like, think back. I made this point when talking about this in the last video when it came to the remote tribe. The average person in the world right now has seen more yams and butt cheeks than your entire family tree combined. thanks to the internet. In the modern day and age, you can't even open up Twitter without being inundated with titties, pussy, and spread asshole. And it's become so normalized. Not just on Twitter, on just the internet as a whole. If you go to the comment section right now, I guarantee there is probably 1,000 bot comments with a naked woman or just giant milkers that is a copy and paste of some other comment right there promoting OnlyFans or some other porn site. It's just become extremely common. So if you're someone that's never had access to the internet and then you just suddenly get it, it's overwhelming with the amount of new things that get introduced into your life. And it's big for the brain here. Like, it's so overstimulating, like all the information, and that does include all of the porn that then just gets fucking placed right there on your doorstep. Like, it's something that even if you don't go looking for it, like even if the North Korean soldiers aren't typing in naked boobie to blow a load, they will undoubtedly just encounter it because of how prevalent it is just in the internet in general. Like, even if they don't go out of their way for it, it will find them. Again, this assumes the story's true in the first place, that North Korean soldiers are drooling and hooked on porn right now. Even though there's no evidence to support that claim at the moment, the claim itself is believable because of how widely documented porn addiction is. It's a serious, serious problem. And in this case, I'm assuming the soldiers have probably never even seen porn before, considering how difficult it is to get in North Korea. So they're probably even more blown away by it and more susceptible to it, would be my guess. Of course, I'm not a psychologist or anything. I'm not a fucking porn scientist. It's just what I'm imagining would be the case. It's just a fascinating thought, really, because I grew up with the internet. I imagine most people watching this have as well. And even if you didn't grow up with it, you got to evolve with it over time. It was never something that all of a sudden the modern internet just fell into your lap one day. You watched it grow and build into what it became today. In this case, they're getting the internet dropped on them all at once, coming from nothing to everything. It's like fucking Gojo's domain expansion, really, but with internet degeneracy. So I just find it super interesting. Also, this is a bit unrelated and probably a bit stupid, but I do wonder if this is a true claim about North Korean soldiers gorging on adult content. Would the US military try and use that to their advantage somehow, you think? Like, start blasting their devices with advertisements for, like, giant melons, like, click here. And they spend, like, hours doing that, just rotting away watching porn as opposed to fighting. I wonder if that'd be, like, an effective tactic in general. Like, they start just spamming their phones with, like, those advertisements from back in the day, like, this sexy single's in your area. This woman's trying to fuck you right now. Actually, this very second. Hey, asshole, this woman's trying to put on a show for you, specifically you. It's a private show. And it's like Keister just jiggling around. Click here and watch. Have some fucking respect. Just like this giant effort to keep them glued to their phone watching porn as opposed to like going out to the front lines and fighting. I don't think it'd actually work. Obviously, I'm just kidding around, but it is an interesting idea. Could there be any merit to that strategy? Most likely not. That's really about it. So, yep. There is another content creator-focused charity scandal bubbling over like a pot of pasta right now. It's only been a matter of weeks since the last one with the Completionist and the Open Hand Foundation, with all of the shenanigans that have been going on there for the last decade that got brought to light thanks to Carl Jobst and Mudahar spearheading all of that. And we didn't even get a refractory period. We were thrust into Season 2 immediately with yet another huge charity scandal situation in the space. And it's an organization that I'm sure all of you are at least familiar with by name. Soft Giving. Buckle your seatbelt because this is about to be a wild ride. Soft Giving, for a couple of years now, had been the go-to for charity fundraising streams that a lot of Twitch streamers have used. We're talking the Goliaths in the space. XQC, Hassan, OTK, the list goes on and on with people that have used Soft Giving to raise money from their community for a good cause. And there was a lot of really great events that were run that used Soft Giving, raised a lot of money for some amazing organizations, and it all seemed like blue skies, smooth sailing, sunshine, and rainbows. And then about a year ago, I recalled there was a bit of shit flinging in the direction of Soft Giving, and I can't quite remember what it was about, because it never really blew up, but there were quite a few creators that came forward saying that they're done working with Soft Giving, and I thought I remembered them shutting down. But that must have been like a Mandela effect thing, kind of like Berenstein versus Berenstain Bears, although that one is not a Mandela effect. That is a legitimate fact that there must have been some kind of multiversal collapse that shifted our timeline, because I know for damn sure it used to be Berenstein, not Stain. So something went truly awry in the space-time continuum. We're getting down a rabbit hole already. Don't wind me up on that topic. But anyway, I thought I remembered Softgiving shutting down. Wasn't the case. It rebranded to something called Brandfluence and is still very much alive. But anyway, there was some controversy that happened with Softgiving a year or so ago, and it died out very quickly. It just petered out like a little wet fart. But a brand new bombshell report came out from Jacob Wolf that blew the lid wide open on Softgiving. And through the investigation, found that roughly 42% of all the money that was raised from 2020 to 2021 actually went to Softgiving instead of the charity that it was meant for, and they never prominently disclosed that to donors. That is an outrageous amount to be scraping off the top here without letting anyone know that that's the case. They're basically treating it like investments in Softgiving at that point as opposed to actual charitable services here. It's fucking foul. Now, since it wasn't prominently displayed to donors, streamers also didn't know that either, at least from all the streamers that have been outspoken about it. It seemed like they were also kept in the dark on that amount of money going to Softgiving as opposed to the money they thought they were raising for the cause that they were supporting. That is absurd. 42% is not the industry standard. As shocking as that information might be to hear, there's no reason Softgiving should be taking that much money. But they're basically just for profit. They're not actually there for the charity. They're there for the big fucking paycheck in their pocket, it seems. Allegedly. So let's strip this down to its birthday suit and weasel our way into its bare butt cheeks. What is Softgiving? Softgiving is fundamentally just a middleman in this equation. So let's say I wanted to do a fundraising stream right now for an organization that will help me get taller. It's a cutting-edge group that's looking for the most effective means in bioengineering and medicine to increase my height from 5'6" to 6 feet. So instead of having my community donate directly to that foundation, fucking pipsqueakpowerup.org or whatever, I would partner with Softgiving to have my community donate through the Softgiving campaign, and Softgiving would take that money that they donated and transfer it to that organization. They would take it and basically just be this conduit for the money to flow through to the organization that the stream is supposed to support. There's nothing in there that would justify taking 42% for that effort of taking the money here and putting it over there. You know, we're not taking Bikini Bottom and moving it over there. We are doing the simplest process ever. 42% is an outrage. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Softgiving says that it gives you all the tools necessary to make the campaign as successful as it can be, but that's a bunch of hooey. There is nothing there that justifies that amount going to the administration costs or whatever fees that they're trying to say they incurred from doing that process. It's just ridiculous. To really highlight the anomaly of Softgiving here, Jacob Wolf's report talks about its competitors like Tiltify and DonorDrive, which I think are two names a lot of you have also heard of. They're very popular as well. And I'm just going to read this to you. The process of donation funds passing through another charity before making their way to the intended destination is unusual. In the scenario where a third party manages the funds without the charity's oversight, there's far more likelihood of misuse and profiteering, said Zach Wiegall, the CEO of Charity Gamers Outreach. On those services, charities sign up and pay a monthly or annual service fee to allow influencers to set up their campaigns. As part of that process, those charities authorize Tiltify and DonorDrive to assess a pre-agreed upon administration fee after a donation has been received. The money is never held by a third party. Tiltify and DonorDrive simply connect to the charity's Stripe, PayPal, Amazon Pay, or other payment accounts and deduct the administration fee. On top of its service fees, Tiltify, for example, charges anywhere from a 3.5 to 5% fee, according to its CEO, Michael Wasserman, making the sum of fees that cut into the total donation approximately 10% for most charities. So you are looking at an astronomical difference in terms of the percentage cut that Softgiving takes as opposed to Tiltify. It's night and day. No matter how you spin it, this is a smell that smells smelly. Like shit from Softgiving. A bunch of bullshit here. And we've only scratched the surface of Jacob Wolf's report. I highly recommend you check it out if you're curious about how deep this goes. Apparently, when he was trying to get some interviews and statements from Softgiving, he instead faced a lawsuit that was issued to him, So apparently he was sent a letter written by the attorney representing Brandfluence, aka the new Soft Giving, I guess, that demanded they don't publish this piece. But then he said, we believe in investigative journalism and our First Amendment right to freedom of press. So Jacob Wolf ended up publishing it anyway, even amidst this lawsuit that he was issued. So big W move there, because I think this is important information. It is always extraordinarily scummy for anyone to take advantage of others' kindness. Charity fraud and charity scams, alleged charity fraud and charity scams here, are the lowest of the low that you can possibly sink. It is so exploitative and so just disgusting. Now let's take another peek behind the curtain here, because Jacob Wolf just made another report here 4 days ago with the new IRS tax records. And according to this, during 2022, Soft Giving raised more than $3.56 million in donations, according to the tax records filed by the Giving A Foundation, the pass-through nonprofit that Soft Giving partners with. Around 1.92 million of that ultimately went to the intended charities. Nearly 1.65 million, roughly 46% of that money went to Soft Giving in fundraising expenses, the tax records show. Soft Giving, more like not giving, 46%? That is downright dirty barnacles. Allegedly. Or even, is it even allegedly if it's public tax filings? But allegedly, I'll just say it to be safe anyway, they seem to have their finger on the trigger of lawsuits. They seem to like to toss those puppies out willy-nilly. So might as well play it safe. Alleged. That's not okay. That's not good at all. Now, another thing that came out in Jacob Wolf's report is that Soft Giving would also pay streamers to do charity streams. That information isn't new, and it's not exclusive to Soft Giving. I saw a lot of people did talk about that, and it created a bunch of buzz, but that's actually a conversation that's been had even a few years back. There are sometimes events that are run that will pay a streamer to be the face of it and raise money for it, and that's always going to leave a sour taste in people's mouths, understandably so, because if you're a streamer or a content creator that's raising money for a charitable cause, the impression is that you're doing it from a genuine place of care and wanting to help, as opposed to it being some kind of paid brand partnership, because it doesn't seem that sincere anymore if you're getting paid to do it. In that case, why are you paying the content creator? You could just take that money that you're going to pay them and put it into the charity itself, you know what I mean? And if the content creator really does care, they'd run the charity stream with you, is how I would personally view it. I feel like doing paid charity streams is just never going to be a good look, but again, that's not something that's exclusive to Soft Giving or this report. That is something that's been in the industry occasionally for a long time now, unfortunately. That's also a debate that's been had a lot over the last few years since that information became more public knowledge with paid charity streams. I think one of the main arguments in support of that practice was people saying that without a content creator spearheading it and like taking charge of it, it wouldn't have as many eyes, thus wouldn't raise as much money for the charity. And I get that perspective, like that makes sense, but it's still just not really a good look to get paid to do a charity stream, because that money that you're getting paid could very easily just go to the charity as well. I just feel like when it comes to raising money for a good cause, it should come from a good place as opposed to like a transactional thing. But that's just my personal view on it. I don't think paid charity streams are a great thing. But anyway, back to Soft Giving and how much they take out of the cookie jar here. So, with all of this coming out from Jacob Wolf's report, a lot of streamers have been questioned by the communities wondering, well, how much did you know and how do you feel about this? And from everyone that's talked about it loosely so far, it seems that the common sentiment is they had no idea that Soft Giving operated this way. It seems like streamers were just as surprised to learn this as everybody else, because it wasn't something that was common knowledge that Soft Giving was taking this much behind the scenes. I think even the streamers that may have been paid to do campaigns probably also didn't know either, because I don't think Soft Giving would disclose that internally either, because they have to know how shitty of a thing that is, which is why they try and keep it this secret. Alleged secret. So that's kind of what I think. Asmongold on stream said that they're engaged in a lawsuit with Soft Giving over all of this, with this whole massive controversy and charity scandal. So I guess we'll have to wait to hear more information about how that goes and what the lawsuit will entail. But regardless, this is a situation where everybody loses, especially the donators who gave their hard-earned money to a cause they thought was great, and definitely is a good cause for most of these fundraisers, but were absolutely fucking scammed, alleged, scammed by Soft Giving by not properly disclosing how much money they were taking. It's a tragic thing to exploit people's kindness in that way, especially when it comes financially. You're not only just taking advantage of people's willingness to help others, you're taking their money on top of it too in this pursuit of trying to help others. It is as low as you can fucking get. So I wanted to just put this on everyone's radar here. I highly encourage you to read Jacob Wolf's report on this for a far more detailed breakdown of everything. I gave you like the bare bones cliff notes of all of it. It is some scummy shit. So just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I am very curious to see what other streamers will come out to talk about their experience with soft giving, if they choose to, or if this is going to be something that's mainly going to be fought with lawsuits behind the scenes, which is also entirely possible. But we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, that's about it. See ya.